Alright guys, it's me, Metalman8713 here today. I hope you guys enjoy it. Well, alright YouTube, it's me, Metalman8713 here today. I hope you guys are alright out there. How's it going? It is November 30th, and it'll be December tomorrow, so the Christmas starts from tomorrow. The countdown begins. Well, I'll most definitely wear a Christmas jumper tomorrow as well. Well, anyway guys, how's it going? I'm here to bring you another collection video today. And this is the third in a series of collection videos of my new big update to my music collection. Well, in the video before my last video, which I did, I've been showing you the new updates to my CD collection on the two CD racks right just on both sides of my bookcase. And in the last video, I've been showing you an update to my bargaining vinyl collection. It's a huge update actually, and in the last video I've been showing you my vinyl collection and single collection as well. So yep, it was quite a good one when I did quite a great video when I did it. So yep. Well, anyway, now I'm going to move on to a third format, which you know, again, like the CDs on the CD racks and most of these LPs and singles, except the two line at the bottom, which I bought myself. This part of the collection was also my dad's, and when he was having to clear out, he gave it to me. Which I said yes, and well, actually, I did really want to get the lot once he said he'll clear them out. And in this video, I'm here to show you a third format, which my dad also collected. This was in the era before CDs, and that is my cassette collection, actually. So yeah, just a brief overview about cassettes before we get onto the main video. Well, cassettes, came out in the mainstream in about the early 1970s. Well, they were an alternative format to run alongside the LPs of the time, and then later on, before their retirement in 2001, they ran on CDs. And also the peak popularity of cassettes were from the mid 1980s up until 1992, when their market share declined and they dropped out of fashion like around 2001 and left the mainstream around that time. Well, there was only like a minority popularity in cassettes now, but you know. Well, anyway, but there's still, in this collection, there's still got quite a bit of good music in here. I'm wanted to share with you guys, so yep. Well, anyway, without further ado, here it is. And before I show you them, I just found this inside here. Now, this does not really count. This is a DVD about the making of Dark Side of the Moon. It's a classic albums documentary. You know, it's wrapped up, it hasn't been used, and it could be worth quite a lot one day if I keep it like that. Well, anyway, we're going to move on to the cassette collection, so let's get started with it. I'm going to really look forward to it. I hope you guys do, so enjoy. Well, anyway, the first one, which I've plopped out of here to show you guys, is a Gary Moore album from 1987 called Wild Frontier. Actually, a good album, actually. And look at the cover, very fantastic. And this contains the popular hit Over the Hills and Far Away. It's quite good, actually. We've got a cassette single here called Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. This was made in 1992, and well, this is a cassette single actually. So yep, Those were around at the time as well, and on the A side there's I Will Always Love You, whilst on side B there's a song called Jesus Loves Me, which is on that side of the cassette. So yep, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, right there. We've got George here's one, here's another odd one in here which I found. George Michael and a solo album called Older, which is one of George Michael's forays into more mature music, and away from the teenage audience of Wham in the 1980s. So, yep, this was his third solo album, I think, that came out in 1996. So, yeah, it's some of your British blue-eyed soul music. Well, that's what George Michael's described as. And well, anyway, and also I'd just like to say also some of these cassettes in here, what me dad used to have inside the collection, which is now mine. Some of these cassettes me dad recorded off other albums to play in what cars he had at the time. And also this is before the era of CDs as well, so don't forget that. Well, and also at the time when I think when he recorded some of these cassettes off other albums, he did it to ones some off his vinyl collection and also off other albums which he did not have at the time, or did not own actually. So yeah. Well, anyway, and there are quite a few of these in here alongside the proper cassettes as well. Yeah. But anyway, this one's recorded off. This one is somebody called Jeff Paris. I don't know who he is, and Jeff Paris Wired Up. I'm wondering what he's like. Anyway, we've got a Blues Brother, Soul Sister, Volume 2. This is a compilation album of many classic blues and soul hits from the 1940s, the 50s and the 60s. Right here, as it says on the back. So yeah, quite good. I've actually listened to one of the songs on it. It's quite good, actually. Well, anyway, we've got this one is Motley Crue, Theatre of Pain, and Michael Schenker Group, Built to Destroy. Which this one on the A side, Motley Crue, this was their foray into glam metal and smoking in the boys' room, do-do-do. 'Cause everybody out there smoking in the loud with you. Woo! Yep, so yep, that's that. Quite good. Here's another one I found here. This is a band called Wet Wet Wet, live at the Albert Hall with the Wren Orchestra. This was recorded in the year before they released their classic song for the film Four Weddings and a Funeral, called Love Is All Around Me. Well, that's how it went like that. So yep. I haven't heard much of them. I'll see what that's like. Well. Anyway, we've got Rush, an album called Power Windows. It's one of their return to hard rock albums. Something, and again a bit different there for you. We've got a compilation album here from Magnum. One CD you did see in their collection called Goodnight LA, but that was in their polished period when they were attempting to sound like Queen. And this one was compilation was composed of hits which were from their first 4 albums at the time, when they were more progressive rock, hard rock, before they became more polished. So yep. Well, actually, this is a quite good compilation album, Magnum Anthology. Quite worth a listen. Quite good. Fantastic. What's this? This one's got No Doubt and Simply Red on there. Well, anyway, what's this one? We've got more Rush here. Farewell to Kins and Rush Hemispheres. I think the A side, that was recorded of a few songs for the 1980 film with Olivia Newton-John in called Xanadu. And there, this is Rush. Quite good. We've got ZZ Top, Greatest Hits, their 1992 Greatest Hits album, composed of hits from their Warner Brothers period, from the late 70s up until 1991-92, so yep, fantastic. Now here's another one I found in here. This is Alcatraz, Disturbing the Peace. Alcatraz was the band that former Rainbow singer and singer for Michael Schenker Group for a brief period before he got kicked out the band during their warm-up gig at Sheffield for... Aye. Well, sorry about that. Well, anyway, Alcatraz, they were the band Sorry about that. My camera went off for a moment, clicked off. Yes! I'm recording a video. I'll do it. I'll trim this bit out. And I'll just say my camera clicked off. Alright. Where was I? Oh yeah. Well, sorry about that. My camera just... You have to forgive me for clicking off. It just went... You know... Yep. From my camera clicking off, it just went out of battery for the moment. Now I've charged it up and... Well, you know, so yep. Well, anyway, I was on this album. This one is Alcatraz, Disturbing the Peace. Alcatraz was the project in the mid-1980s what former Rainbow and Michael Schenker Group singer Graham Bonnet did in the mid-80s. And also, this has got it's quite a good album, actually. And also, this has had a couple of very famous guitarists pass through Alcatraz's ranks, including Yngwie Malmsteen and Steve Vai, former guitarist for Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa, Public Image, well, that was for one album, and famously David Lee Roth and Whitesnake as well. So yeah, quite good album, fantastic. Here's another recorded one. What's this one? Tina Turner, Wembley, 1996. I think that could possibly some live recordings from the time. Well, anyway, we've got an album here cut with Roxette called Crash Boom Bam. I don't know what that's like. We've got another one in here. What's this one? This is Ozzy Osbourne, No Rest for the Wicked, and Vixen. Quite actually alright, actually. We've got here's one of my favourite bands, Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time. Excellent album. Look at the cover. Fantastic. Got in here, we've got a soundtrack to the very famous 1986 film Top Gun, which also coincidentally was one of Tom Cruise's breakthrough roles in the 1980s when he became popular. So yep, there's got quite a good song here done by Berlin. It was called Take My Breath Away. Well, anyway, so, yep, Top Gun soundtrack. And the ball. I wonder what the rest of it's like when I listen to it. Anyway, we've got some 1980s, early 90s glam rock Europe. Prisoners in Paradise. Fantastic. We've got a 1980s compilation album featuring some 1980s hits on here from the late 70s up until about, I think it's up about, and in various different points throughout the 80s. Got a few quite good songs on here, and I wonder what the rest of them are like. I'm wondering. We've got an album called Mr. Big. This is Mr. Big's debut album. You've seen a CD in my CD collection called Lean Into It, which came out 2 years after this one. Lean Into It was their biggest album, and this was their debut album. Mr. Big, great cover, fantastic. And also we've got another one in here called Bump Ahead, which I'll show you once we get onto it. We've got another cassette single here called, this is Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Two Tribes and Keep the Peace, which was their second charting single in 1984. I have heard Relax off Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and it's really good actually, so I wonder if this one is as well. Possibly, maybe. Right. Oh, no, now here's something a bit different for you. This is a demo from a local band which my dad used to be in at the time in the 80s. Well, it was more on hobby levels, not... Well, they sort of did it as a hobby thing, actually. Well, this demo was from a local band which he was in called Stage 5. And, you know, when I got this collection, I've decided to keep it. So, it's quite good, actually. Yep. Well, anyway, we've got a big classic Sammy Hagar era Van Halen, 51, and his first album with Van Halen out of 4 albums he did with the band, 5150. Look at that cover, fantastic. Oops, oops, daisy. I could have smashed that glass for a moment. This one's missing the case. This is Unleashed in the East by Judas Priest. This is the famous live album, what they did in 1979 whilst on their Hellbent Forever World Tour. Yep. Got something a bit lighter. This is Heart. This is Brigade, a bit more. This is some of your 1980s, early 90s American pop rock. You've seen one in me vinyl collection called Bad Animals, and one before which is self-titled. So this is the third Heart album of their popularity revival. So this one's called Brigade. I wonder what that'll be like. I want to give it a listen. Anyway, in this one we've got Guitar Gold, Burt Weedo's 20 Greatest Hits. And got another recorded one here. This is another one recorded. This is Scorpions, Tokyo Tapes. The last Scorpions album of any sort, which John Roth did before he left the band completely. Well, apart from a couple of guest appearances later on. Well, you know, one-off guest appearances on stage, you know, what have you. Yep. This one we've got here is Bon Jovi's breakthrough album from 1986, Slippery When Wet. Look at that cover. Excellent. And this contains the well-known hits You Give Love a Bad Name, Wanted Dead or Alive, and Living on a Prayer. Excellent. Fan. Dabby Dozy. We've got Black Sabbath, and this is after the Ronnie James Dio era and after the brief Ian Gillan period, when it was at the time when Black Sabbath had a revolving membership, except Tony Iommi himself, who he stayed the only constant member of the band. And this one had former Deep Purple bass player Glenn Hughes on vocals, and this one has current Kiss drummer Eric Sinner on drums, and the bass player, I think it's Dave Spitz, the brother of the Anthrax guitarist. I forgot whose name is, I'll have to look it up. Well, anyway, and also, did you know that this was originally going to be a Tony Iommi solo album, but the record company insisted that they use the Black Sabbath name because very, very popular name, actually. And this one is Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. That's what they came to an agreement of it to be released. And this one is Seventh Star. Quite a good album, actually. Worth a listen. This one is broken. This case. This was the last Deep Purple album by the Mark II lineup before Richie Blackmore left the band forever in 1993 and reformed Rainbow. This one is Deep Purple. This case is broken a bit. Deep Purple, The Battle Rages On. The Blackmore left the band because this album wasn't considered melodic enough for his standards. So yeah, it's the Battle Rage on. Quite good, fantastic. Well, anyway, we've got another recorded one here, and this one is Rainbow Down to Earth and Rainbow Long Live Rock and Roll. Got Gary Moore, After Hours, his second bluesy effort after Still Got the Blues, right here, and featuring some more guest appearances like on the previous album, including B.B. King, former blues guitarist, who died. God bless his soul, blessings. Well, anyway, we got here's another odd one which I haven't heard of, really. This is the Lighthouse Family.